So what if I told you that a lot of ecom brands out there that are using Attentive SMS are potentially losing out on a ton of revenue from the app just because they have really, really bad setups? This video is going to be a huge unfair advantage for you. I'm going to be sharing with you the exact system, including the sign-up units, the automations, the messages that helped us generate $415,000 for a client of ours in just 3 months. Install the system in your Attentive account and you will generate a ton of extra revenue that you could invest into scaling your brand faster or to buy something nice for yourself. I won't judge. So let's get into it. Why the heck would you want to listen to me? My name is Hussam and I've been in digital marketing for 15 years, in ecom for over a decade. I have generated well over 8 figures in extra revenue for our ecom clients. I spent millions on paid media and I also had my own stores in the past as well, one which I was able to scale from 0 all the way to 7 figures in less than 16 months with a very, very minimal budget. I'm also the founder of Power My Marketing, which is a full service email SMS marketing agency. And we love working with ambitious and cool ecom brands and help them continue to scale profitably year over year. So let's talk about the first lever that you can pull to generate as much revenue from SMS as you can. Why is this important? Because the more phone numbers you can capture and nurture, the more revenue you'll be able to generate, as long as those are qualified subscribers. This is even more important if you're paying for traffic. So if you're spending money to acquire traffic, then it's imperative to capture as much of that traffic as possible and turn them into SMS subscribers that you can nurture and turn into first time and eventually repeat customers. So you can see these two funnels here. The first one is without an SMS capture. Let's say you're sending website traffic from Meta or from ads, and then you have the standard 3% conversion rate. And then with SMS capture, you'll be able to capture more of that traffic. So potentially convert 10 to 15% into subscribers that you can nurture. And then you can put them into SMS journeys and weekly campaigns. And this will increase your conversion rate and your customer lifetime value. So now the how, let's talk about the different options for opt-ins. The first one is a timed one. This is the most popular one that we use, and it's also the most effective. So typically triggers 15 seconds after the website loads or a visitor lands on your website. And then we like to collect both email SMS with what we call a multi-step opt-in. And the reason why we don't ask for both email SMS in one screen is because that adds a lot of friction and it's proven to reduce the opt-in rate. So we like to ask for either the email or the SMS first, typically the email first because it's lower friction and people are more used to giving out their emails. And then as soon as they give the email on the second screen, we ask for the SMS. So most of your subscribers will naturally come from this. The second one is the exit intent. So this basically triggers when a user exits the screen. It's a little bit trickier on mobile devices because it's very difficult to know exactly when a user is about to exit. On a desktop, it's super easy because the cursor goes out of the window and then this pop-up triggers. Then you can either collect just SMS here. For example, if you asked for both email SMS on the first one, maybe on the exit intent, you can either ask for SMS or still for both email SMS. I recommend that you have a different angular offer because it doesn't make any sense to repeat the same offer that you had for the timed one. You repeat it for the exit intent because people are simply not gonna subscribe to it. So if you, for example, offered maybe a mystery discount, like a 10% discount or 15% discount here, maybe on the second one, you can offer a free guide or something different to appeal to a different segment of that traffic that is landed on your website. And yeah, this is a great supplemental opt-in to your timed opt-in. The third type is an embedded opt-in or on a landing page. Basically, we embed this into a page. We collect both email and SMS. And this is great to build hype for your promos, new product launches, and the giveaways. So an example of this could be during Black Friday or before we launch the Black Friday. We like to convert more of our email subscribers into SMS subscribers because the SMS metrics are very, very high, like for example, in terms of open rate and click rate. And we also like to be able to contact people via multiple channels because that will increase the conversion rate, will increase our brand exposure as well, especially during busy periods like Black Friday, where all brands are basically competing for attention. So we send people to a landing page. We say the biggest sale of the year is coming up. Make sure to opt in here to be notified first, so you'll be the first to shop and the first to save as well. And then people submit their phone numbers there so we can notify them first. So if you would like to boost or turbo boost your opt-in rate, so this is the most common way we see it for most brands. You see on the left here. So unlock 10% off your order, pretty standard. And this is good to start with, but this will have a lower opt-in rate. It will naturally also have low unsubscribe rates because people know exactly what kind of offer they will be getting. However, our favorite one and the one that we use with most of our clients, again, you can test these against each other. We like to use the mystery offer. So we don't say get 10% off or 15%. We say, hey, you have a mystery gift or a mystery offer or a mystery coupon or a discount or something like that. And then that gets people curious. So they opt in at higher rates. So they figure out exactly what kind of gift or offer we are giving them. And that will have a higher opt-in rate. However, one of the downsides is that you might have a slightly higher unsubscribe rate because a lot of those people, once they see your offer, maybe it's not that appealing to them. For example, they expected to get 15 or 20% off and you are giving out 10% off. So after they opt in, maybe they don't like the offer and they end up unsubscribing. Again, this is not always the case, but sometimes you might notice that the unsubscribe rate has went up, and it's worth it to test it to see if that's the case for you. Again, if you still can keep the unsubscribe rate below the industry benchmark, typically around 0.3%, then you're still good here. So the journeys and automations, and this is the closest thing to passive income if such a thing existed. So these are automated flows that will basically nurture your subscribers, overcome all of their objections, answer their questions, and persuade them to buy on autopilot. These are very, very important. And they are also super simple to set up, especially on Attentive. So you can see in this example here, we have generated $127,000 in 3 months for this brand just from journeys or automations, some other platforms, they call them flows. So in terms of the how, I like to classify these automations or journeys or flows into 3 different categories. So there is the pre-purchase. This is before someone places an order. There is the post-purchase, the immediate post-purchase. So this is after someone places an order. And there is a loyalty. This is dedicated for people who have been with us for a long time. Maybe they placed multiple orders with us. So you can see here the pre-purchase, we have the welcome flow, which is typically the highest revenue automation or journey. And there is the site abandonment, browse abandonment, cart abandonment, and checkout abandonment. So these are abandonment flows for specific actions that people take on your website, whether it's they basically browse the product and then they bounced, or they added something to cart and then they bounced from your website, or initiated checkout and then they bounced. Then we have the post-purchase. So we have the immediate post-purchase. We have also the review request, asking people for social proof. It's very, very important. There is the cross-sell, upsell based on what they bought, and there is the replenishment if you have, or if you sell replenishable products, plus the win back. And there are the loyalty, which are typically the birthday flows, the purchase anniversary flows, plus the VIP Ascension flows. And I'm going to show you the main flows that we typically have for our clients that will generate 90+% of the potential revenue that you could be generating from these journeys. So highest performing automations, the first one is the welcome flow. Again, as I mentioned before, highest revenue, introduces subscribers to your brand, plus gives an incentive if you promise them an incentive. So you can see from this example here, we have generated $205,000 from this welcome flow, or welcome journey, as Attentive calls them. The second one is checkout abandonment. This is very, very high intent because people have literally gone until the last step before they placed an order and then they bounced for some reason. Maybe they had some objection. And this is where we try to overcome that objection, maybe emphasize our guarantee, or if we have a risk reversal, and also give them an incentive to basically push them to place that order. And you can see in this example, it has generated $18,727. The browse abandonment, again, a quick nudge to get them back. This is when someone browses a product on your store and then bounces. So we know that they are somehow interested in that particular product, but maybe they bounced because they needed more info. They basically needed to do some competitive research. Maybe they had some objection. And yeah, we basically nudge them and get them back to the website. And you can see here that we have generated $41,000 from this browse abandonment. Again, cart abandonment is also super high intent. This is the exact step before the checkout abandonment. It's very, very important. And I see a lot of ecom brands actually confuse these two together. They believe that checkout is the same as cart abandonment, but they are two distinct steps here. And we like to set up a flow for each. So basically, each individual action that the user takes towards the purchase or even after the purchase, we like to have a particular journey for it. So this one is a quick nudge to get them back. Again, talk about the guarantee or risk reversal and offer incentive as well. This one has generated $99,000. There is the session abandonment. So this is low intent because it means that someone visited your website, but they were not interested enough to check any particular product. So They're a little bit on the lower intent side, but it's still worth setting a journey for them. And as you can see here, this has generated $22,000 for this client. Then you have the post-purchase, shipment, and delivery. So there is this thing that's called buyer's remorse, and it happens immediately after someone places an order. And it's really good to have a post-purchase experience that will reduce their anxiety from them placing an order, and will also address that buyer's remorse to make them feel good about their purchase, to make them feel that they have made the perfect decision to buy from your brand. And then, yeah, you basically give assurances and keep them updated about their shipment when their order is shipped. You keep them updated when their order is delivered as well. So this is an example of a post-purchase experience, and we have generated $17,000 from this one. Yeah, potentially you can have maybe some cross-sells or upsells here, depends on the products that you are selling. Then there is the other one that we set up, which is called the review request, and this is for social proof. So this is not specifically for revenue, but still we generate some revenue from it. You will see it more on the app side. So if you have an app that collects reviews like Stamped or maybe Looks, then you can set it up to basically when people submit a review, they can receive 10% off or something like that. But yeah, this is more intended to get social proof because we use some sort of social proof in about 70 to 80% of the emails we send, and our clients use them in ads as well. So it's imperative that you collect as many reviews as possible for your products. So then we have the replenishment win back. These are two different flows. The replenishment is typically for brands that are replenishable. If you sell food or maybe cosmetics that need replenishing, then you can set up their replenishment flow, whether it's, maybe their product will run out in about 30 days or 45 days. It depends on the frequency. And then you can set up a flow to ask them for refill. And maybe if they don't after a couple of days, you can offer them some sort of incentive. A win back is typically we call it the Hail Mary offer. So it's a last attempt to get customers back because they lapsed at this point. Maybe they bought from us, but they haven't come back to place another order in about 60 or 90 days. So we try to either gather feedback from them, ask them why they haven't placed an order, so we can understand exactly how we can improve our marketing or our products, or we can just give them like a better incentive than we have given them in the welcome flow or the abandonment flows. Just try to convert them and get them to make that second purchase. So these flows are incredibly important, and they are very, very profitable because it's much, much easier to sell to existing customers than to get new customers. So you can see in this example, customer win back, we have generated $50,000 for this client. Then you have the back in stock flow. So this one I rarely see from the brands I audit. I'm not sure exactly why, because it's a very high intent flow and it has a very high conversion rate. Sometimes it even converts better than the checkout abandonment, but I don't see a lot of brands setting it up. And I guess because they also send the campaigns, for example, when they have products back in stock, they typically send the campaign announcement, so they don't feel the need to have this set up. However, if you especially sell maybe a lot of products on your store and they tend to go out of stock and then they come back in stock, it's good to have it automated so people can opt into the wait list and they will get notified as soon as the product comes back in stock. So this is very, very important. And you can still send campaigns for your bestsellers, for example, when they come back in stock, even though this flow is activated. So another flow that I don't see that often is the low stock flow, and this plays on scarcity. So whenever an item maybe reaches, you can set it up as maybe 5 units or 10 units or something like that. Then people who have either browsed that product recently or maybe added it to cart, they will get notified. They say, hey, we only have a few units left of this. So this plays on scarcity, which is one of the most effective marketing tactics that you can use. And yeah, you can see in this example, low inventory flow, and it helped us generate $73,000. And then you have the last flow that I had here, which is called the price drop. And this plays on urgency, and also it plays on scarcity. So whenever you have an item that has dropped in price, the people who basically browsed that item recently or maybe added it to cart, they will get notified. We can say, hey, the price has dropped on this item, and we can also couple it with scarcity, maybe say, hey, there are only a few units left, and then yeah, use it to your advantage to get people to buy that product because we know they were interested in it and now it has a lower price. So you can see in this example, it has generated $40,351. So the third highest lever that you can pull to generate more revenue from your Attentive account is campaigns. And the why behind it is very simple. Yes, automations and journeys are more automated, so you can typically set them up once and then let them run. We still sometimes update these journeys to keep them current, but if you're short on time, you can just set them and forget them, and they will continue to generate more revenue for you. But the campaigns are more manual and are the messages that you send on a weekly basis. However, they still can account for more than half of your SMS revenue. So these are great for staying top of mind. And we know that people are bombarded by thousands of marketing messages every single day on, billboard, on social media, on ads, etc. And it's very, very important to stay top of mind. And if you don't have campaigns going out to your list on a weekly basis, then you're just leaving money on the table. Campaigns will increase your conversion rate, your average order value, and your customer lifetime value, and will make your ads more profitable because you're converting more of that traffic that you're paying for and driving to your website. And you can see in this example, in just 3 months, we have generated $288,000 just from campaigns alone. So the how now, you can see here an example of a campaign that uses a graphic and also some text here. SMS campaigns are great for example, promos or sales, new product launches, back in stock or low stock items, and also for collabs. However, you need to be very, very careful with these campaigns because SMS is a very, very personal channel. So use it sparingly to only announce important things or maybe send personal messages. Don't overuse it, otherwise people will get annoyed and end up unsubscribing en masse. So start with 1 to 2 messages per week, depending on the list size, on segments, on how many SMS worthy announcements that you have. For brands, for example, that don't run sales often and they don't launch a lot of new product, then there is no need to send a lot of SMS messages here. But for brands that consistently launch new products or collections every single week, they have sales, they have a lot going on, then I would recommend that you send more SMS messages on a weekly basis. So you can start with targeting the segment, which is clicked on SMS in the last 90 days, plus engaged with your website in the last 90 days, plus active customers as well. Obviously, you can target other segments, but this is the one that I recommend targeting initially to keep your click rate high, your order rate high, and keep your negative metrics like unsubscribe rate very, very low. So these are the 3 highest leverage things that if you install in your Attentive account, you are guaranteed to generate more revenue for your brands. So if you'd like to generate more revenue and profit from SMS and email as well, we're happy to offer you a free in-depth audit. Our clients generate between 35 to 50% of their total revenue from email and SMS, and up to half of that comes from SMS. You can see for this particular brand from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. So in a year, we have generated $1.5 million just from SMS. So we generated 1.1 million from campaigns and 388,000 from journeys. And if you'd like similar results for your brand, just click on the link in the description to schedule a quick call with me. You can see here that we took Hostelry from 12 to 40% of attributed email and SMS revenue. For Kingsman Premium, consistently over 40% of email and SMS revenue, and we peaked at 53. And we helped Fluoro Store increase their email revenue by 7x. And if you'd like to see more of these video testimonials, you can check out our website at powermymarketing.com. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I also included another link in the description for a free 50-page masterclass on how to generate up to 25% of your total revenue from email and SMS automations or flows. This has everything I know about this subject. This will have the 10 core flows plus the 7 additional flows that will turbo boost your revenue, including all the emails and SMS messages that you need to send in each. So click on the link to get your free guide.